Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, a paralegal turned stay-at-home mom that loves true crime. The cases I cover are wild, topics may be triggering, listener and viewer discretion is strongly advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's get started on today's case. In Pleasanton, California, there had only been 5 murders since World War II. None were children until the brutal murder of 14-year-old Tina Marie Faelz on April 5, 1984. When Tina was murdered, Pleasanton was still considered the boonies, but it was up and coming, with new family-friendly developments being advertised in the surrounding areas, including Castro Valley, where Tina's mom and stepdad lived before moving there. At the time, Pleasanton's population was 42,000. Today, there are 74,653 people living in what is considered one of the nicest, aka white parts of the Bay Area. A new to the area Pilates instructor at the studio in Pleasanton I go to told the class that they quickly noticed people in Pleasanton really do not have a problem speaking their minds. Tina's brutal murder remained unresolved for nearly 3 decades until 2011, when DNA evidence from the crime scene linked to someone who was already in the system, Stephen John Carlson. Blood from Tina's purse was linked to him. At the time of Tina's murder, 16-year-old Stephen Carlson was known as Creepy Carlson by his classmates at Foothill High. He lived on Lemonwood Way, which is located just across from the drainage culvert hole where Tina was found. In 2014, an Alameda County jury in Oakland convicted him of murder in the first degree for the slaying of Tina Marie Faelz. Honorable Judge C. Don Clay sentenced him to 26 years to life in prison. Even though Steve was a minor during the killing, he was tried as an adult due to the gravity of the case. In a 2017 appeal alleging lack of evidence, it took 10 years off his sentence and reduced his conviction to second-degree murder. In a wild twist of fate, Tina's mom, Shirley Faelz Orozco, died of a heart attack on February 13, 2014. On the exact date of the trial of Steve Carlson for the murder of her daughter was set to start. She was 66 years old. Karen Reef, Shirley's sister, said, and I quote, "My sister went through almost 30 years of hell after Tina's death, and I think she finally died of a broken heart." In the late 1960s, Ron Penix was attracted to the hippie lifestyle of San Francisco and what it was known for. Ron and some friends moved from Washington State to San Francisco. While working at the Market Street Donut Place, he met a pretty customer named Shirley Griffith. Shirley was the eldest of 5 children. She graduated from Canyon High in Castro Valley, California. They fell in love and together moved back to Washington State. Ron worked for a phone company working with the phone landwire cables, and in 1968, at a restaurant where Ron's mom worked as a bartender, Ron and Shirley got married. On April 27, 1969, Tina Marie Penix was born. Ron was a self-admitted alcoholic and not ready to be a father or husband. A year later, Shirley moved back to her hometown of Castro Valley, California. She ran into an old crush from high school, Steve Faelz. They went to the San Francisco Zoo on their first official date, and Tina came along with them. Steve Faelz became a firefighter like his father before him. They first lived on 165th Ave in San Leandro, California, which same because when I was little in the 90s, my family and I lived on 163rd. In 1971, while Shirley and Tina were in downtown Hayward at the intersection of Castro Valley Boulevard and Redwood Road, they were crossing the street to catch a bus when a car ran into them. Shirley was physically unscathed while Tina suffered major injuries. She was taken to the Stanford Children's Hospital. She underwent back foot surgery and was brazen with a full body cast. By all accounts, Shirley was a devoted mother who carried Tina in a full body cast everywhere she went. Shirley, Tina, and Steve Faelz moved to Queen Street in Castro Valley in 1972. When Tina was 4, Shirley and Steve Faelz were married, and they officially became a family when Steve Faelz legally adopted Tina. Tina's biological father, Ron Penix, agreed that it was for her best interest. On November 27, 1975, Drew Allen Faelz was born. In 1976, the Faelz family moved to Virgin Island Court in Pleasanton, California. The Valley Trails community was advertised as a family-friendly community. For a whopping $34,000, your children would have the room to roam, to ramble with complete safety. They seemed like your typical all-American family. Tina and Drew played soccer. At one game, Tina got a bloody nose, and her firefighter father came to her rescue like a true knight in shining armor and administered first aid on the field. Things got messy in 1982 when Shirley and Steve Faelz broke up. He was cheating on her with her younger brother's wife. Steve Faelz's sister-in-law became his new wife. Tina and her brother Drew's aunt became their new stepmom. It was a shit show, to say the least. Their family gatherings were chaotic. Steve Faelz moved back to Castro Valley, and Shirley Faelz became a single mother working at the corner 7-Eleven on Las Positas and Hopyard Road, where kids so kindly nicknamed her E.T. In order to supplement her income, Shirley also rented out the spare rooms of their home and even turned the living room into a makeshift room and rented that out as well. On top of all that hot mess express, Tina was getting bullied at school. Tina liked pulling practical jokes on other people who friends say were sometimes taken a little too far, and often left the person she was pranking humiliated. Ding Dong Ditch was played with her group of friends in the neighborhood. I myself, a geriatric elder millennial, have played Ding Dong Ditch. You see, back in my day, aka the 90s, and I know Tina's case was in the late 80s, but we still played it growing up. If you're not familiar with Ding Dong Ditch or Doorbell Ditch, you would knock on someone's door or ring the doorbell when before doorbell cameras, and instead of seeing the person on your app, you would have to physically go and open the door. The fun in the game was running out to hide after ringing the doorbell to see the person's expression of amazement when finding that no one was at their step.